no secret that we were quoted $4,000 to get power installed in my new studio space. Elysia English Studios is in full renovation mode, and we've decided because of that shocking quote that we were going to go full solar with this building. We want to be completely off-grid. I don't want to be fueling the power bill for this building by all the profits I'm making with my DIY kits. And so because of that, during this video, we're going to compare two portable power stations. One was created by a company we've actually been using for a really long time. We have other DJI products. It's the DJI Power 1000, and we're going to compare it to the EcoFlow Delta 2. There are a lot of components to both of these portable power stations that I would consider when picking what I'm going to use to help me to have the power I need off-grid here on my studio. And because we live in Nova Scotia, there's a few other factors that I want to kind of like sprinkle in as reasons why I would choose one or the other. But the first thing I want to talk about is just overall aesthetics to this, which is honestly my least concerned point of the actual comparison of these. But let's get that out of the way first. Well, these are very similar in color. Obviously the dark black gray is much better for camping, keeping things clean, easy wipeable surface. And they also have sort of like, I would say, a tabletop deck, which is convenient, but it is larger on the DJI one. So because of the larger deck on top, if I'm going to be charging, say, my drone and my cell phone, or my drone and my camera, and then I also am using my ports to have power tools and things, I have a really nice sort of tabletop of things that I don't want sitting on my sawdust or sitting on the ground if I'm camping or off grid somewhere. And the Delta is obviously a much smaller surface. So although I could squish things over, I feel like I have a more of like a work table on here, which is always convenient to have. I am most concerned about how long can this fuel power for me, how quickly can I recharge it so I can get back to work if I do kind of drain my batteries low when I'm working here for extended period of times, and also are these portable for me to be able to move them back and forth from the house where we might need it sometimes for large storms and things, and over here to the studio. We also have the security of leaving too many things here at the studio, so I'll be carting a lot of things back and forth. So the fact that these are portable is a check mark for both components here.
$354 watts right now with the sun. 355. This one's just crushing right now.
The sun just came out.
Always on the run, I didn't want to slow down, but baby, then you came around. Yeah, you came around. No, I won't let you down. I promise you that I'll hold on. I know that it gets tough sometimes, so I'm here to remind you, love. The sun will shine on you wherever you go, wherever you go. And when it gets dark, stay strong. You're never alone. You're never alone. The sun will shine. The sun will shine. Yeah.
Both of these portable power stations would give me power for my studio. But Elysia English Studio needs a lot of accessibility for running tools. I need to be working for really long hours here, and I want to see which of these two portable power stations is going to fuel what I need for accessibility for this building. Input at the same time on this one's 39, 55, 62. And then back to the DJI. So when we're comparing our portable power stations and how quickly their batteries can charge up, we're getting 800 watts with the DJI and only 500 watts with the EcoFlow. So you can see that our portable power station batteries can charge up much faster with the DJI compared to the EcoFlow. So right now in this studio, we're just beginning our renovation, and I know that this wall is going to have shelving, and one of the shelves is going to be a custom component for my power station to go in. The design of the EcoFlow is not as, efficient for me in the studio as having everything displayed on the front like the DJI does. The EcoFlow has all of the component ports and screens on the sides, So if this was in a shelf right now, I would have a difficult time having an access to put in my cords. Plus, if I had shelving on either side, I can't even see the screen. So that's just a good visual to show you. But we are going to plug in all of the power that Philip has installed for me, what I'm going to need to do my work here at our off-grid studio. So we are plugged in. Philip has hooked up the lighting, the ceiling fans, and all of the heating elements so that when I'm working in here, I can have power to operate all of my power tools. I can stay warm and I can see what I'm doing. So those are the main things that we need to have working in here. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little comparison test on which one of these is outputting more power, because that's gonna tell me which one of these is going to last the longest when I'm working here for extended amounts of time working on orders. So let's see. But because this thing is on the side, I can't show you from the front, and we have to go around to this side or move it all around. Put it on. We have our portable power station all set up, and we're all plugged into my off-grid studio. We're gonna see how much output we're using. So the EcoFlow has a stable output of 1800, but it has a peak outlet of 2700. But currently right now, we are only using 31 watts of outlet. So I'm obviously not running any saws or anything right now. I'm just running the lights in here, and we have the ceiling fan here going, and that's pretty much it. So there's gonna be a lot of other things operating in this building, so I know I'm gonna use more than that, but it's just a good comparison so we can see how much are we actually using just with the basics. Before we even get to working, what are the basics to use the portable power station? So now we're going to easily access the front of our DJI 1000, and we're going to make sure that we've turned on where our ports can go and plug in my building and see what wattage output we're using, doing the exact same thing we just did. So with the DJI 1000, we actually have a 2200 stable watt output, and we have a 4400 peak output. So you can see that that's much higher and greater than the EcoFlow.
And that's great when we're plugging in some of our bigger machinery and you turn them on and they have that peak. It's not going to blow any breakers. It's really going to handle everything.
And since we're content creators and we're often going to be here using a lot of our equipment, like our cameras or laptops, we want to be able to see what our USB and USB-C rates are. And we know that the wattages are definitely not going to be exactly the same for both of the portable stations. So we're going to plug in our camera and give it a test. The DJI 1000 has 140 watt USB-C power. So let's compare that to the EcoFlow. And the EcoFlow has 100 watt for USB-C. Okay, so listen to this. You don't hear anything, right? Complete silence. This is the DJI Power 1000. Okay, now let's compare it, because I think this is gonna really surprise you. Can you hear the difference? It's literally so loud I have to talk over it. So if I was filming in my studio and I was using the EcoFlow, this would be pretty distracting. I mean, it sounds like there's a huge wind fan blowing behind me, and it's just from this generator. Okay, so let's get back to the DJI. Ultimately, this is so much quieter. I mean, there is absolutely no disputing that the EcoFlow is so loud. If I was filming, this doesn't interrupt me in any way. If I was out in the wilderness, maybe I wouldn't care about the noise level, but in my studio, in my workspace, this one is so much quieter. Love that. There's also a really cool feature that this DJI has. It has the SDC fast charging port on here so that I can quick charge all of those amazing drones that you see Philip make our beautiful footage for. All I have to do is plug my adapter into this quick charging port, and it's going to really fast charge all of those drones. So the weight difference on these is very comparable. So I wouldn't say that that was a really big factor in choosing which one I would purchase if I only got to buy one. I'm lucky that I have both of these, but I want to show which one of these I would choose if I had to make a decision, and which one I'll likely grab on my way over here on the days that I'm going to be working. So a pound or two difference between the two of these is really nothing to make a huge decision about. But what is how easy is it to actually carry? I find the DJI for my size really easy to carry, and it has a nice thick handle, and I feel like the weight is really distributed really evenly. And although they both have handles, this is a little bit different for me, and I feel like it's very bottom weighted heavy compared to having the weight more dispersed evenly. So I guess that's more of like a personal preference. It might be different for you, but for me, I find the DJI a lot easier to kind of carry around. So I do really like how the DJI has all of the ports and the screen on the front, because if you had this in your vehicle and you were using it from, say, your camping vehicle or even in a work truck, you might have this pushed into a corner and you have other things around it, and you wouldn't have the back and the front accessible or the two sides. And with the EcoFlow, you'll see that all the ports are on the side, whereas the front and the back are flat. So if this was wedged into a corner, you'd have to be rotating it around, trying to find where your connections were. If you had this pushed into a work truck or into a camping gear, you might have bins, boxes, or bags that will be blocking the sides of this, and you wouldn't have both sides and all your ports accessible, or your screen to see how much battery life you still have. So that's one of the aesthetic features. So even having a faster charge time of being able to charge this from the outlets at home, even that 10-20 minute difference can make a huge difference when I'm in a rush trying to come over and I need to power up before I leave. And let's be honest, here in Nova Scotia, the weather doesn't always support us getting free power from the sun, where I'm gonna need a 100% charged portable power station to bring over to work for the day. And the sun might just not charge me when I get over here. So I'm going to want that quick charge option in the wall, and the DJI will charge faster. I can also charge faster using the sun with the DJI compared to the EcoFlow, and my output seems to be a lot less when using the DJI than using the EcoFlow, which means the power that I generate, whether it be from home or from the sun, is going to last me longer while I'm here working long hours. And honestly, I just love the design of this one. It's a little more minimalist, it's less flashy, it's not like as tech look at me as the EcoFlow. I think it just has a really nice tabletop, it has a sleek design, easy to kind of just pick up and go, and doesn't have the accessibility, setbacks that I feel like the EcoFlow has on the side. So overall, this is my new friend. It'll be with me when I come over to work on the orders that you order off my site.
Your studio right now is using 86 watts. Oh, the fan.
The fan.